This is Out Loud and Laughing.
Welcome back to the pod, Chosen Fam. John, I am particularly buzzing for this conversation because our guest today is a literal Renaissance man. He's a writer, a director, an actor, and an advocate who has been living his truth on the global stage for over a decade. Today, we are sitting down with Sasha Korbut. Sasha made history and headlines back in 2013 when he came out in a profile for the New York Times, followed by a powerful op ed in Out magazine. Since then, he's moved from being a journalist and model to a powerhouse filmmaker. He's the mind behind the beautiful film Incomplete, executive producer by Academy Award nominee Oren Moverman, and he's even an instructor at Fira Yoga here in NYC, close to me. He's basically the overachiever we all want to be best friends with. Sasha, welcome to the show.
I also want to be friends with you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, welcome, Sasha. We're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you for inviting me over. It's nice to be in a virtual room, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
So are we, Sasha. We have to start off with the Russian of it all because as three queer guys, we know that much of geography shapes our coming out stories, right? And so you came out in a very public way during a time when being an out Russian man was, to put it lightly, politically and socially charged, right? So looking back at 2013 in New York Times profile, does that version of Sasha still feel like a stranger to you, or is he sitting here with us today?
I went back to revisit the article. I haven't read it in 13 or 14 years. It was always a link in my website as an additional information about me. So it was I was reading the articles, but I was also trying to check in with my feelings to see how I feel about that. And I think certain things has to be said and done at certain times. If I would write a coming out story today, it would have been written differently. If I would write about my parents' perception of me and of my coming out um, today, it would be different from what I've written for Out magazine back in 2013, followed by the New York Times profile. And I noticed that I become quite defensive in terms of my parents. And, I came out pretty rush saying that when I came out, they did not accept me. They wanted to call the ambulance, the psychiatrist, the exorcist. Um, they
Priest.
were ashamed of going out to the streets. And I've been, my reason of writing about it is probably was my way to deal with that. Whereas if I would write this story today, I would say that's the only way they knew how to navigate.
Hmm.
And that's, um, I think they tried their best and that's how they could do it. And so I think I became more compassionate and understanding years later. So I went off right from the beginning to the question that you asked, but I think it all links to it's not only about the profile that is written, it's how it's read today, both by me and by you. And there are multiple questions can come out of it. Have things changed or have not changed on a global perspective and a political one? Has something changed in my life, etc., etc.? So it can be dissected in those categories.
I was
Hmm.
gonna follow up with, if there was one thing in the article back then that you would not necessarily change, but update, right? Like, what would that one thing be? You said you just read it, it sort of brought you back feelings, so I'm curious to know in that moment, what was like, "Hey, that's not right," or, "Hey, I've changed there." Was there something that really, that stood out to you?
I think there is a bigger question when we write some, whether you're a whistleblower or you're coming out, which I think it's a little bit similar in a way that you need to have some courage to talk about something that feels whether uncomfortable or illegal. So that's the only way I'm comparing those two things. But when you coming out or when you're revealing something, you're asking yourself, are you a victim or are you a hero?
Mm,
I think that back then, if I'll be very honest with myself, I wanted to come across as a victim. Oh, poor me. This is what happened to me. But I feel like how else could I feel at 22? I just moved to New York City. I didn't have friends yet. I was getting my first relationship, queer relationship. I was broke. I felt lonely. I felt scared. I felt frightened by the world, by the new language. So I think you write in this article and you a bit victimizing yourself. Whereas this is the answer in your question. I'm nailing it. Whereas as if I would have written it today, I would probably make myself as a hero and not in a contemptuous way, like, I'm above you all, rather than I stand for what I've done. And this is my statement and I own it and I'm in charge of my own story, whether you like it or not, but that's how I lived and that's how I felt. And I think I'm stand for this kid who wrote it 15 years ago. I think
It's amazing.
good to him. Bravo. Kudos.
Yeah. Love that.
I mean, you kinda lean into what I think is just pure authentic, right? And when you're authentic, it doesn't really matter what the story is as long as it's coming from a place of truth. I think that's powerful. But I also love how you transition from being the subject of the story to the person telling the story, Sasha. Like your film Incomplete, John and I watched it. It explores the deep, universal like longing, not just for a partner, but for connection with ourselves, which I think historically has been taken as a negative thing. And as someone, Sasha, who spends time on the yoga mat teaching others how to breathe and connect, do you think we as a queer community are getting any better at feeling complete on our own, or do you think we still have work to do?
I think there's a third thing.
Mm.
A few days ago, I fell off a scooter and injured my arm, and I teach yoga. That's what I that's how I make money. That's what I do for a living. And I came to a class incapable to teach, but I still have to work to pay the bills. And at the beginning of the class, I'm telling like, "Hey guys, I just want to let you know, I fell off the scooter. I was a bit embarrassed telling that, but I have to teach. But like, so my only one right arm works, but we'll make it work. So let's get into the class." What happened is that after we all laughed and we had a class, but afterwards, people started to come to me and say, "Hey, you know what? A couple of weeks ago, I broke my wrist, and I'm sorry, a couple months ago, and I'm still recovering." And then the other go, I'm having this lower back pain. And it almost felt like opening Pandora's box that people came and started to share things that they usually not meant to talk about because we need to come across strong and confident and healthy, especially when you get old. One famous writer said, when you're young, you fake wisdom. When you're old, you fake energy. so um,
I can
it's
relate to that.
it's in that. So going to Incomplete, a film that explored the idea of love and disconnection, the idea of solitude and loneliness in a modern world, the idea of feeling that we need someone in order to feel complete, blah, blah, blah. Those things that we are not talking much unless you're a professional with a blue tag Instagram guru and you're entitled and feel like you can talk about it. But otherwise, you better post a naked picture of yourself with a six pack. And if you don't have them, wait a couple of months until you get them. And it goes those
Couple
two
of months.
extremes. Exactly. So I think this is what happens with the film. It's not what kind of conversations we also have, but how do we hold them? Do all of them have to be going to extreme, or we can just say, you know what, today I'm not feeling that great. Are we doing it in a performative way, or are we doing it from a place of authenticity, as you previously mentioned? Not giving credit to myself, but I'm just, putting out there the question.
Well, I have to say, that felt like a clumsy moment. I'm sure it felt like a clumsy moment. I have fallen off a scooter before too, and I just remember like how
John's very clumsy.
I'm very clumsy. I'm not projecting my clumsiness on you. I'm just saying though that where that moment ends, your brilliance begins, and you've worked with some incredible talent, Sasha. Corey Michael Smith and Pontus Lidberg, who brings Incomplete to life. And those are just to name a few. But I wanted to talk about your writing. In Incomplete, I also noticed that, there was a little bit of a lean into this side of maybe your ex-journalist self because the main character writes in his journal, and that's sort of like a lot of the story, but you were a journalist at first, right? And so does the journalist brain ever turn off when you're writing a screenplay, or are you always looking for the scoop inside your own emotions?
Never been asked that question before. I think it's two different hemispheres because journalism is more practical. You collect information and uh, analyze it. Who said that the fiction is sort of a very well elaborated not nonfiction? So you sort of you collect those nonfiction data, and then you put it into the and you fictionalize it. And fiction has more truth than nonfiction in some way because you had time to look at the data, process it, and put it in a creative kind of scope or thing. So I think when it's a okay, I know how to answer it. I think when you're a journalist, you're focusing on the object or a subject versus when you're writing creative, you're including more of yourself.
Mhm.
And um, I think it's probably that. And then you try a little bit, put a hyperbole, and you're still trying to put the emotional triggers. There's this whole, beginning, middle, and end. I'm not gonna lie that I just one day I woke up and it all came to me. No, Incomplete took 5 years to make it, and me and my co-writer Peter Wardman would try to figure out what would be the best way to deliver one thought.
I believe it was Mark Twain that said that quote about fiction and nonfiction, which I love, and thank you very much for elaborating on that.
Yeah, before I go into my next question that I have for you, Sasha, you have to help me here. Okay, the film Two Novosibirks?
Yeah, it's to Novosibirsk, which first reaction I usually get like, ah.
Correct.
I
I
am so proud that I came up with a title that is longer than the film itself. You know,
That's
it's a
great.
9-minute short film. It's a father-son relationship, but it is hard to pronounce. Novosibirsk is one of the main cities in Russia, in Siberia,
yeah,
and people do have trouble with it would be say easier to say to Moscow or even to Vladivostok, where I'm from, but it happened to be to Novosibirsk in the writing process. And I thought, well, if people can name the capital of Iceland, they probably can, eventually manage Novosibirsk. And now people would be interested in finding out, wow, is that a real city? Yeah, yes, it is.
I love putting stuff like that on the map.
yeah, seriously. I mean, and I wanted to address that film, but, like, because we have to address the heated rivalry of it all, Sasha. Like, being Russian in New York City, you bring this incredible grit, and obviously with the film, it shows such a delicate, soulful side of that experience, specifically the pain of family separation and immigration. Now that you've been in New York for so long, when you're in a room with Americans, what is the one thing about the Russian American family dynamic or even the queer immigrant experience that people just don't really understand?
Just one word about heated rivalry. Last year,
Please.
when The White Lotus came out, the third season, one of the characters is a Russian yoga teacher from Vladivostok, and I sort of
Mhm.
became a meme. And the second year, was Heated Rivalry, which is like a Russian hot dude from who is playing hockey. And I'm like, well, I think I can, at least I cannot be that meme. But, everybody asked me, have you watched Heated Rivalry? And yes, I did watch it. I felt like it was a professional almost need to do. um, I felt like there's been said so much about heated rivalry. I'm so glad not to talk about it because it feels like
Yeah,
there's nothing else to add into a conversation. And as the world, we need to move on. Thank you, Timothy Chalamet.
agreed.
There are other things happening in life. But going back to Novosibirsk, which is it was a short film. I wrote it. We shot it in one day for $1. And I wanted to explore the dynamic of a father-son relationship in a bicultural family when a father is American and son is Russian American and his mom is
Mhm.
Russian, and now there is a separation. And now the kid who was brought from Russia just got adapted to his life in America. He finds out that the parents are divorcing and he has to go back to Russia to readapt to the country he just left, but in a completely different circumstances if you take the political situation nowadays. So it's that the topic that I wanted to explore. I think the story is much simpler. It's just a son and a father having a good day. on Brighton Beach until the day is not that good. And the father thinking, what kind of legacy can I leave my son if I will never see him again? Um, I can see what the connection you make with the hero right away. Thank you so much. We had a little bit less budget and a little bit less of fame, but
But
I'm
still
totally,
more heart, Sasha.
I'm totally, I'm totally happy to take the niche. By the way, just one thing about hero rivalry. When we talk about it, it's not the sex that we really love to discuss. It's that heart,
Correct.
and the heart in a series comes in the last episodes. So we pretty much
Yes.
want to talk about the cottage, and it's interesting how you need to build, 6 hours of, heated allure to get to the heart.
It's funny that you mentioned that because you open incomplete with the words, "I miss you." And it immediately took me to, like, episode 4 of Heated
Yes.
Rivalry, and I'm like, how quickly you can get somebody to feel, without sort of all of the backstory. But also I was gonna add, maybe you should just make a comeback and call it Bikram Rivalry, and you could have, like, a yoga version. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there.
That's gonna be a horror movie and canceled next day. I'm too young to be canceled. Give me some time.
Fair enough. Oh, that's funny. Well, Sasha, listen, I know that we can relate to we have a little bit of an immigrant, story ourselves. Our
Mhm.
family, is Cuban. As a matter of fact, my mother has a Russian name. Her name is Olga. Because of the '60s and the '70s and the relationship with Cuba and Russia. So just a little bit of a tie there. I wanted to bring that out. So we can definitely I'm sure there's some crossover there with our stories. But taking it out of a little bit of the deep space, hear it out loud and laughing, we definitely like to laugh. And we've spent so much time pondering the deep questions and the soul searching part, but we like to do a game called This or That. No overthinking, and just the first thing that comes to mind. It's called This or That, the Director's Cut Edition. Are you ready?
It's time for another round of This or That, the unhinged get to know you game.
And Sasha, feel free to give us a little bit of background if you want to on your answer because we're gay and we like to go deep on the why.
Brian's a Brian's a curious soul. I love it.
I am. I'm very
Uh,
curious. That's why I'm gay now.
Keep it that way.
Buy now, day later. I love it. Okay, so Sasha, are you into scruff or no scruff?
No scruff.
Mm, little smooth Twinkie daddy. Love it.
Mm, same. I can't grow a beard.
No, he can't.
I know. Do you prefer subtitles or dubbed?
Subtitles.
Mhm.
100%.
I do too. I feel like you miss a lot of the writing in dubbed.
I
Well, have
feel
you tried to watch The Pit without subtitles or Industry to, you know, big budget HBO shows? It's impossible. I don't know half of the diseases.
That's
I
helpful.
also feel like it's so disrespectful. So, like, my husband likes to watch all of these shows on Netflix that are in, like, different languages, but they dub over English, and if their lips don't match the words, it bothers me to no end.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
It's a little rough for me.
Sasha, are you a chest guy or a butt guy?
I what?
Butt, like, your
Oh,
derriere.
I thought you asked if I'm a chess guy with the CHESS. I was like, yes, I am. I just learned how
Oh,
to play
okay,
chess.
fine. Chess
And
or checkers.
Yeah, chess or checkers. That's a good one too.
I'm chess.
Chess, I love
Checkmate.
it.
Uh,
Uh,
in the evenings, I am a chess butt. In the afternoons, I'm a butt.
Love that. Oh, us the
Whatever it
timely
is.
man. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, mine is a little. Do you prefer a Russian vodka or a green juice after yoga, or both?
Okay, full disclosure, I've never tried vodka. I don't know how it tastes, so I would go with the green juice. But and it sort of like became my thing, so I'm gonna keep with that. I'm a bourbon paper plane kind of guy drinking from Loring Place on 8th Street. That's where I go.
I love it.
Amazing.
I love it. Sasha, are you someone who likes pitching the script or catching the vision, if you follow what we did there?
Pitching the script of Hatch in the Way. I'm horrible at pitching my own stuff and great at other people. Usually, I perceive life through words and touch, and then
Huh?
images. So I think words come first.
So pitching.
Yeah.
I was
Even
just
if I
kidding.
would go on Scruff, I would say, keep yourself dark.
Yeah.
Tell me how
Oh,
you feel in a Shakespearean way without using ChatGPT.
I'm one of those too. When I tapped on an image, I'd be like, "Give me the convo first before I see you naked." I can feel that.
Yeah.
I'm
Substance.
opposite. I'm
Substance.
opposite.
Yeah,
Let's
Brian, you're
just see what we
shallow.
got. I'm very shallow. Okay, Sasha, if you okay, you had a long day. Are you taking a shower or a bath?
I took my first Victorian bath in my life last month in Golden Eye, Jamaica. So I usually take a shower, but apparently bath is so nice. So many things you can do. And once I posted it on Instagram, the amount of followers I got, which was three, but
Yes.
it felt a
Oh,
lot.
yeah. Yeah, they like baths until they're in it, and then they come back with, "Oh, you have to stew in your own soup," and I'm just like, "Bro, how gross are you really?" Sasha, are you an early bird or are you a night owl?
Early bird, but 2 hours for myself in the morning. I wake up, I write, I go to the gym. I'm reading a book. I always read the book in the morning. So right now it's Keith McNally. I regret almost everything. I cannot put it down. Genius.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll pick it up.
Do you prefer the intimate indie film or the big budget blockbuster?
Definitely intimate indie film. I'm tired of blockbusters. I'm very sorry, Ryan Coogler. I really tried to watch Sinners twice. It did not work for me. Appreciate everything he's doing. Find him a wonderful filmmaker, and it doesn't click with me. And I was thinking about it, but how? Like, can I not access your mind? And probably I cannot. Give me like a rom-com from Lithuania that is 90 minutes at Metrograph. Okay, maybe Angelica seats are better. And I'll be there.
I'm a big indie fan myself, so I can
Yeah.
totally relate. Um, okay, you're doing great, Sasha. We're almost there. You have 2 left. How are you doing? You're doing all right?
I'm good. Yes, I will tell you
Okay,
one thing. I have one question for you guys, and it's also going to be short. So if you can
Like
allocate
this.
time to answer it.
we've got all the time for you today, so here, we'll speed these up. Boxers or briefs?
Boxers. I like it
Silk
to
or
be like
cotton? I'm
loose.
just kidding.
You like the flow. You like to
I
move
like the
around,
flow.
I
It has
love
to
it.
like have air.
air it out.
I
I
love it.
kind of agree with that. Okay. Okay, last one. Do you want to be remembered for your art or for your advocacy?
None. Be. I want the DNA of my actions be imprinted in other people's. I
Mm,
truly believe in the
Mhm.
kindness. It can be translated in so different ways. So I don't need big speeches. It doesn't have to be an Instagram video going through and I'm saying something smart. No, if I could help, someone on the street to pick up their keys because they, dropped them, that's more than enough.
beautiful.
That is beautiful. What do you have for us, Sasha? What questions? We're
I
here
have two
for you.
questions, and you choose who wants to answer it because, but both interesting. Okay, so question one is, what's your comfort film? And the question two is the book that you read that you wish you give it as a gift to someone.
I have answers for both, Brian. I'm
Same.
curious. Okay, do you wanna just do both?
Let's start with a film. The comfort film, like snap decision. Why?
My comfort film is The Holiday. It is that because I love films that, like, have a red thread. So in The Holiday, for me, it is challenging yourself to find love. And I love the way they, like, told the stories between 4 different, relationships. It's one of my favorites, plus I love Christmas. It's a win-win. Go, Brian.
Guys, see, this is why John and I are doing a podcast together because mine is also a Christmas film. It's not The Holiday, though, but it's The Family Stone.
You'd love The Family
I love
Stone.
The Family Stone only because it just gives a really raw take on a family, but with the gay son undertones and pure acceptance. And I don't know, it's something that I watch every year at least once. I usually do it twice. And so yeah, The Family Stone for me. I also have a sweet spot for Diane Keaton, R.I.P.
R.I.P. What's your book, Brian?
I'm gonna get mine first because John's gonna be way better than mine. Mine is 12 Hours by 12 Weeks. And that is teaching your baby to sleep for 12 hours by the time they're 12 weeks old. We joke, but I used it as my it was my encyclopedia. My husband and I use it, and it was the best book. The reason why I say that, Sasha, is I gift that book to anyone that's having a baby.
Okay.
So it's the book. It's the book.
Sasha, I think you might like my answer a little better. I don't know if you're a
Probably.
father. I don't know if you're a father. I didn't see that you were, but I can't relate either. But I get it, and I get why sleep is important. So you know what,
Listen,
Brian? More power to you. Mine would have to be a old read, probably one of the first books I read, The Catcher in the Rye. One of my favorites. I love that book because and it brings me comfort because I found a lot of my self-identification and self-awareness when I was in high school, and I just sort of felt a connection to Holden Caulfield, the main character.
mm,
Just I had a lot of rebellious experiences. I could relate in that sense, and for that reason, that book just brings me such nostalgia.
Yeah, I like both of your answers for different reasons.
Beautiful.
John, I even have something for you, but I'll send you in a DM.
Love. Um, Sasha, thank you so much. We appreciate your time today.
Um,
yeah. Thank you for being so vulnerable and real with us. And honestly, like you have mastered your craft, and you are such a bright light in our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. We want other people to find you though. So can you share with us where people can find your work and how they can follow
yeah,
you?
well, first of all, you're very welcome, and thank you for giving me the spotlight. I've been watching you guys, and I think the power of any interviewer is the questions that you ask. And you find a way how to ask good questions that create another question and another question and another question, which almost feels like you not necessarily need the answer, but just open the conversation and let it flow. So you guys doing such a fantastic job. Yeah, my film to Novosibirsk is coming out this spring. It's going to be available on YouTube now, incomplete as well. And I don't use much social media, but Instagram is there. It's my name, Sasha Korbut. Anybody can find me. So thank you so much, guys. I really hope that next time when I'm nominated for Academy, you'll find the time so we can talk about this amazing film that I made.
You are now part of our chosen family, so you cannot get out of this web. We would have you back whenever. And to the rest of our chosen family watching and listening, go find a way to feel complete today and watch Incomplete. You could find it on YouTube. It's fantastic. It's 15 minutes long and it'll touch your heart. Um, and today, even if it's just a long bath, a visit to your dusty journal, take it out, pull out a pen, write a letter to yourself, or just a quick yoga flow. Stay authentic, keep laughing. We can't wait to have you back. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.